Africa is about girl education. 63% of non-educated adults today are women. That's the deep root of the gender inequalities. One of the critical issues we have regarding the African demography is the fact that this is not a chosen fertility. I always say, please present me the lady who decided, being perfectly educated, to have 7, 8, 9 children. And this is not teaching African people from New York. This is a pure bullshit to say that. A lot of African leaders today now dare to have this kind of speech. This is just because a lot of girls were not properly educated. That's why for me education is the main answer. First, to avoid the worst. Second, to maximize opportunities in African countries and in the rest of the world. Third, to properly monitor demography, because it will be a chosen demography.
Yeah, welcome to my YouTube space. I am the Kenyan Sora, and that was some issues that have been raised by Emmanuel Macron, the French president. Before I deepen this video, I just want to ask you this question. Do you think Emmanuel Macron was right for what he is saying? Is it right for the foreign leaders to come and intervene with some African affairs, like on how we can live, on how we can dominate our territory, on how we can control our population? When we talk about the women or girls' education, yes, our parents has sacrificed a lot just to give their children better education in Africa. But the question is, after this education, how are they being helpful from the education they have achieved in the schools? Because the government has nothing to offer, has no good job opportunities to offer for the peoples or the students who have graduated and come out of universities. And that's why you will find these students are getting out of schools as graduated, but end up doing things that never relate with the education they have acquired in schools. That's the major problems we are having here. When we talk about the poor conditions of Africa, the poverty, this poverty has been caused with our colonizers, the same people who made Africa to be in a poor status. They're the ones who are coming and give opinions on how the Africans are producing the high number of population while it is in a poor condition. That's not right, because since the African countries were under a colonial, these people had the chance and opportunity to take everything from Africa. They are the ones who are controlling Africa, controlling African resources, minerals, taking all of them to their country so that they can go produce products there and bring back to Africa and sell at their prices, leaving Africa under the condition of poverty. And now today they're coming to explain to us on how we can resolve this problem of poverty by reducing the population, by reducing the number of births. That's not right. I think you agree with me in this. As you black people, wherever you're watching, I think you agree with me with this. Tell me if you agree with me in the comment section, and we will discuss this. We will talk about this, and I will respond to any comment that you will put there. So let us listen to this.
Nous avions une relation sécuritaire. Elle était de deux natures en vérité. Il y a une partie, c'était notre engagement contre le terrorisme depuis 2013. On avait raison. Je crois qu'on a oublié de nous dire merci. C'est pas grave, ça viendra avec le temps. L'ingratitude, je suis bien placé pour le savoir, c'est une maladie non transmissible à l'homme. Mais je le dis pour tous les gouvernants africains
qui n'ont pas eu le courage, vis-à-vis de leurs opinions publiques, de le porter, aucun d'entre eux ne serait aujourd'hui avec un pays souverain si l'armée française ne s'était pas déployée dans cette région. Et j'ai une pensée émue pour nos soldats qui, parfois, ont donné leur vie et pendant des années se sont battus. Nous avons bien fait. On est parti parce qu'il y a eu des coups d'État, parce qu'on était là à la demande d'États souverains qui avaient demandé à la France de venir. À partir du moment où il y a eu des coups d'État, où les gens ont dit « notre priorité, c'est plus la lutte contre le terrorisme, c'est ceci ou cela qu'importe », la France n'y avait plus sa place, parce que nous ne sommes pas les supplétifs de putschistes. Donc on est parti.
Welcome back. And now, Emanuel Macron is very angry about the issues of the West African countries like Burkina Faso, Chad, and Senegal, declining his presence and his territories to be in these countries. He said that Africans are not appreciable for what they are being done for. This sounds funny. You know, since the country of Burkina Faso decided to send away the troops of French armies and dissolve all the relationship were there, and cutting off the licenses, mining licenses owned by the French armies, the French government, then it has become the quarrel between these countries. It has become the blames between these two countries. If it's true, just like Macron has said that they come to help genuinely, then if it came to the point where these African leaders decided that we agree and we appreciate for what you've done for us, and now it's time we want to stand as Africans. We want to now depend on ourselves. Why does it have to be the problem? Why does it have to bring quarrels? If they were just came to help genuinely? I think if you can come and say that, Explorer, it's not, I want to help you and I accept your help, then you will help me until the time I'll have that chance or that opportunity to help myself. The time I'll have that strength to stand by myself, then if I tell you that it's okay for what you've done to me, and now it's time I feel like I can stand for myself, I can depend on myself, I can help myself. Why do you have to feel like I am disappointing you? Why do you have to put that grudge, that fight between you and me? And if it was just for the goodwill, that shows clearly that they never came to help the West African countries, but they come to destroy, because they have been dominating all resources in this country. Burkina Faso has never been known of his resources since its existence. Burkina Faso has never came to appear in any place. People never knew anything about Burkina Faso since Ibrahim Traore came to power and take over this country. Why? Because what he's doing in this country, he's doing great. He's doing job. He is working. He is working and achieving the dreams of this country and the dreams of their citizens, of his citizens. This country have a lot of minerals, which for that very long time has never helped the country economy, has never helped the youth of this country to get something to put in their table. Now it has become the problem because they say that they want to depend on themselves. If Macron, you were to help the West African countries, if you were doing it for the goodwill, pure-heartedly, and now by the time they say that they are okay, they can stand by that, you are to appreciate them but not to criticize them, and now you are every time coming out and talking about these countries. You feel the pain about this. You feel pained. You felt so disappointed about their decision, because you knew very well that you are the one benefiting from these countries. but they are not the one who are benefiting from these countries. You claim that you are fighting for the terrorists to these countries for a very long time. Why is it that it has never there was no peace in this country, even for a single day? These countries has been going under crisis, under wars, under blastings, under scenes. The sceneries has been happening in these countries. Where were that as French armies? Where were that French powers and heavy machines that were there to guard this country? So, and now it's time for the West to give a respect to the African countries, because now it's time African countries have woken up and they know what to do. They know what they have to do, and they know what they want. The only thing we have to do here is to give respect, to give borders, to respect the boundaries. If you want something, you come to our country, you make an agreement, you receive 50-50, we share. That is what is called helping each other, but not benefiting from one another, from one another. So I think from wherever you're watching, you agree with me on this, because Africa, we have to agree that Africa has now awakened up. And for those who are not sleeping, you will not be awakened up until the time you will find yourself it's too late for you. And that's the time you will realize that what the people has been talking about, it was of helpful. I will first react on this last issue of Ibrahim Traore meeting up with all the widows of his country and their families. We know very well, we all know about this, that all African countries passed through the hand of colonizers, the slave trades, the colonial periods. All African countries passed through this, and it has passed a lot of years since the African countries gained their independences. So for these African countries to gain their independence and their freedoms, there were people who were concerned about this. There were people who fought for this. There were people who lost their life just for this freedom to come. But have we asked ourselves this question, that where are these families? Where are the family of the fighters, freedom fighters? From wherever you are watching, I don't know your country, tell me in the comment section, how are the conditions of the fighters, of the freedom fighters? Are they okay, or they're just there, forgotten, just struggling for their life, struggling and fighting for survival?
On March 13th, 2025, President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso met with the widows and orphans of soldiers who had fallen in the fight against terrorism. This meeting underscores his commitment to supporting the families of those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for the nation's security. To help them thrive, the head of state is dedicated to providing financial support for those who want to start businesses or who are already entrepreneurs. Additionally, for widows with degrees and the right qualifications, the head of state has made arrangements to reserve a certain number of positions for them in government jobs and new factories. And there is an even better plan for the orphans. Carefully listen to what he had to say and his response to their questions. This is Uplifting Africa. Thank you for coming in such large numbers to this conference for widows and orphans, which is the first of its kind since the beginning of terrorism. I am very happy to be here tonight to listen to your grievances, if I may say so, but also to find quick solutions to the socio-economic conditions of the wives and orphans of our comrades who paid the price with their lives. It is a war that was imposed on us. We have no choice but to fight, and that is what we are doing today. More than ever, we have the initiative on the ground, and we avenge, day by day, all those who have lost their lives in this fight since 2015. We cannot imagine the pain of each and every one of you, but we know that you are the heroes. During our absences, God alone knows how you suffer, whether we return or not. Women continue to suffer at home. Children suffer greatly from our absence. It is painful, but be sure of one thing. It is for the homeland. And all we can do is think about how to take care of you so that this pain can be eased. I think that is the very essence of this conference, which has brought you together, so that we can find solutions that come from you. It must be said, it has been 10 years now that we have been fighting because the first terrorist acts manifested in Burkina Faso since 2015. But in 2023, I asked that we have a clear database of the wounded for their care, after visiting them at the hospital at Camp Soul. And we realized that we do not have an exhaustive list of our wounded. We also held a conference with them last year, which helped to identify many solutions. However, we needed a clear list, and that allowed us in 2023 to think about the list. If we do not have the list of our wounded, we must see if we have the list of those who remain after our heroes who have fallen. That is, the widows and orphans. We also realize that we do not have a reliable database. That is why I think that recently we have worked to develop an application through which people can register, and I have been told that the application is ready and should be launched in the hours or days to come. And all mechanisms will be put in place to help those who cannot register themselves, to accompany them so that they can register, and that we first have an exhaustive and clear list of all those who have sacrificed everything for the homeland. It is from there that we can truly support the wives and children you continue to support. But before all that, we have taken a number of measures to support as much as possible. The list will give us the extent of the situation and allow us to take appropriate measures. And it is in this sense that the ASBOVIG was created, because if we want to act effectively in favor of our wounded and our widows and orphans, we must have an agency specially dedicated to that, because there are many services, and I know that many of you are often bothered by the multitude of associations or services that continue to call you left and right for certain things. We want to standardize all this data. That is why the ASBOVIG was created, and I think you will contribute through representatives at the ASBOVIG to take charge of a certain amount of data. I am already happy with the first point that was raised, namely, finding a federation that will bring together all the widows in Burkina Faso. That is already a very good start. With the database, I think it will be very easy to do, and it is from there that we can act consistently in your favor. Returning to the points that were raised here, when I take the case of women's empowerment, as you said, we must go towards that each woman can have what she needs to feed her family. That is the very essence of what we want to do. It is imperative.
I'll give an example of my country, Kenya, where the legacies of these people that we know is the streets in our towns which were named after their names, but nothing else. I can remember, if you can remember, if you are from Kenya, I know you remember the last year but one, we buried this widow of the late Tomboya. The Tomboya, we all know about the Tomboya street. Those are the streets in our town, in CBD. But where are the families of Tomboya? How is their status and their conditions of life? now, no even a single leader of the country has come up and said that we are here to recognize the presence of the families of the freedom fighters, and we have to give support these families. We have to provide for them what their needs. These people have been forgotten for a very long time. They come, struggle with life, died poor, died with poor conditions. And that is the status of Africa. Until the time we have seen for the first time in Burkina Faso, this is happening. Even Traore, when he tried to look out for these poor widows and their families, there were ladies to the freedom fighters who died long time ago, living with their families with nothing, but only the names. The great names as fighters that cannot bring something to the table for the people to enjoy as their meal. Now he has promised to give them job when it's possible, to look for their spaces in their country, in the companies that have been launched there, their children and their grandchildren to get best education, fully sponsored by the government. And that is what we need in Africa. We need to reflect back. We need to heal our wounds that has been damaged very long time ago. And by doing this, we are going to heal the status of Africa. We are going to revive the economic status of Africa. We are going to make Africa bring back its legacy. Africa is great, but the people who are leading Africa are the ones who are destroying instead of building. Instead of talking of rebuilding the continent of Africa, we are splitting and destroying it every day, day by day. Africa is awake. And now the West African countries are the ones to give an example, because they have come and arise and say that it's enough. It's enough for the foreign countries. It's enough for the foreign leaders, foreign powers. They have dominated our lands for a very long time. They've took everything from our countries, leaving us poor, and they come back and start defining our life as the poor. When you go to India, India is the leading population country. And again, we know that India has best economy. India is a developed country. India has fast developed in digital platforms. Yet they have a large number of population, because they have packaged themselves. They know how to control the economy. They know how to arrange these youths. But in African countries, our governments are only focused on creating jobs and jobs opportunities in abroad, in Dubai, in Saudi, where our ladies are going to look for the jobs. Some of them being killed there. Our youth are dying in our lakes in the Indian Ocean, trying to cross the borders to go and look for something to do there with their life. They are going to look for the green pastures, while Africa is the green pasture itself. Africa is a blessed continent with fertile lands, good climate. But the people who are concerned are not bothered about this. They are looking for the job opportunities outside the borders of Africa. This cannot rebuild Africa, but it can only destroy Africa. And we will maintain and remain to the status of poor and the poorest people in the face of the land of the world. We have to wake up, fight for this, and defend the dignity of Africa, because we were made to be great and we were made to be winners, not losers. So I thank Ibrahim Traore for the efforts that he is trying to rebuild the economy and the country of Burkina Faso, giving Burkinabes hope and giving Burkinabes youth a hope to fight and reclaim to what they believe it belongs to them. And I want African leaders to follow the footstep, no matter the conditions or the status they put in Ibrahim Traore. Some of them criticizing, saying that he never followed democracy to get this power that he is owning. Democracy is not a solution. Democracy is not a help for the citizens. What citizens need is their life to go on and have the brighter future, but not democracy, because democracy in Africa is like a song. It's only favoring the people who are in power. Democracy is only providing these people a politician to retain their positions, but it has nothing to do with the common citizens. We know about that. We know about that. So let's stop pretending that we are following democracy. We want people to follow democracy. Democracy is not doing nothing in Africa. People are doing things on their own way, just for them to get what they want. That's all. Nothing like democracy. So let's stop pretending about this. And foreign leaders, they have to do and focus with their countries and their affairs. We don't need the foreign leaders to come and interact with the African affairs. We have the people considered for this. We have leaders. They have to do their duties. We no more need the foreign leaders to come and tell us what to do, because we have already awakened up and we know what to do. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Here's Kenyan Explorer, and here is where we talk, expose and find the truth. By doing this, we believe that we are changing some people's mind. We are changing and making some people to know what is going on and what is supposed to be happen. Through talking, we spread positivity across the African minds and African generation. We believe that united we can, but separated is weak. Until next episode, don't forget to subscribe, don't pass by. And I thank you for your time. Be blessed.